What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dylan Talks Tone 2. I've got an interesting video for you today. I want to discuss Phil McKnight's interview with the CEO of Sweetwater, because a lot of guitar players have a lot of different feelings about Sweetwater, about the future of guitar and where the business is, and is it going down, is it going up, etc. So we're going to get into that in just a minute. What's going on? I just want to bust in here real quick. This video today is brought to you by Dylan Talks Tone. We don't have any other sponsors. So Dylan Talks Tone is it. Specifically, I want to show you our Super 8 humbucker pickup, which is probably my favorite at this point. If you are looking for a PAF vintage style wind with just a little more, this is your jam. So we can go from, this is a pretty gainy setup, but just relatively clean. Without losing any clarity, full dynamic range of what you're looking for with a humbucker like this, playing super gainy stuff or super clean stuff. You're going to get all of it out of one pickup, and I really, really like that. So if you like that vintage style vibe with just a little more, this is it. I'll leave a link to it in the description and in the pinned comment at DylanTalksTone.com, and this is our Super 8 pickup. Back to the video. I thought this was a really good video. I actually was thinking that I wasn't going to watch it because the clickbaity title that Phil used was like, what's Sweetwater CEO's view of like the decline of the business? And I was like, I hate it when people talk about it like that. But I really respect Phil and I love his stuff. And I was like, no, I'm going to watch this. And so I got a lot out of it. In fact, I took a lot out of it. And it also really made me feel good about what we do around here. Because it's super easy to be negative about what's going on in the world all the time. That could stand for anything, not just guitar stuff. So what can we be positive about the guitar industry? I'm personally very optimistic. I think that there's a lot of new guitar players. In fact, I know there is. The business is growing. It's not growing at like pandemic levels from 2020. It kind of leveled off a little bit from there, but it's not going down. Okay, guitar sales are up. Everything is up. There has been a little bit of upset and upheaval and a little bit of maybe like uncertainty because of tariff stuff, right? Especially if you're really interested in import guitars. Then you're going to have to, and products, amps and stuff. So we'll have to deal with that in some way. But there are ways to deal with it. Financing is really good right now. So like on Sweetwater, you can get, 0% for however many months or whatever. That's pretty cool. And the other thing, like actually at Dylan Talks Tone, we have the same thing. We have the little shop pay button and you can, finance it over 4 payments over the next couple of paychecks or whatever to buy a set of pickups. So that's pretty cool. Those things are neat. One of the things I thought he was really positive about was AI, because guitar players and artists in general get really negative about AI. And I was like, this is a really cool take on this that I had not thought of. At the same time, I think about it all the time for me. I am way more creative since using AI for a lot of stuff. You just have to understand it, right? So he talked about how an artist of some sort will use AI. It will give them an idea, and then they will take that to the actual instrument. That's basically what happens here. I use it to inspire ideas. Basically, like ChatGPT, for example, is just scraping the internet for what's on the internet. So a lot of times for a video idea, I'll be like, what are people talking about right now? What is important to people right now? And ChatGPT will give me that. That's all they give me. I go on and do the rest of it myself. It's not like I have them write all my lines and stuff. I don't use a script. But that is, I love that. I love the fact that it can really inspire me to continue to create. And I think you should use it for the same thing. Get an idea that you didn't have in your head this morning and then go create it. No matter how you get that idea, go create. Do it yourself, but if you need some extra kick of inspiration with AI, do it. I think it's awesome. I think it's really awesome. He said that 1 million people will start in band classes this year, and 60% of them will quit. You can look at that two different ways. You can look at that a discouraging way, that 60% of them will quit, but you can also look at it a positive way. 40% of 1 million people is a lot of people. That's a lot of new musicians that will be out there in the world every year. One of the things he talked about was the need to inspire musicians to continue to play. This is something where I think the community can really help and really has a lot of room to improve. I think guitar players can be very negative in comment sections and very down on each other, which is sort of weird because this is a creative space where we're trying to encourage each other to create. So I think that is something that we all could improve on. And I think before you click send on your comment, is it going to encourage another guitar player to create? If it's not, don't make the comment. Just don't be a dumbass. Don't be one of those guys. Because you are one of those guys when you do that. When you make a negative comment, you're just being an idiot. You're just being somebody who's unnecessarily mean for no reason. If that's you, that's fine. Make the comment. We won't delete it. We'll let everybody know that you're a jerk, and you can go on being a jerk, but let's put you in that category of being a jerk. For the rest of us, we want to make super positive, like reinforcing comments for others so that they can be encouraged and inspired to continue to play. I think that's something that we can do. One of the things I was thinking about too, when he was talking about like expenses going up and the economy doing what it's doing and uncertainty and stuff, Phil talked about the fact that his collective hobby doesn't go away, right? So economy doesn't actually the economy changing doesn't stop our desire to want to do stuff, right? It can discourage it because it can discourage, well, I was going to buy this thing and now I'm not going to buy this thing because I can't afford it. But that doesn't mean we don't want it. We still want it, even though we can't afford it. And so don't let the economy kill your desire to be creative. Separate those two things. I think that's really, really important to separate the fact that your creative space and your job and I'm talking out of my own head here because this is something I have to fight with every day. If we're slow, I'll tell you the summer months are the slowest in the guitar industry. So it's through June and July and August, it's the slowest. So I'm concentrating on like marketing and trying to get right. And so you can get in your own head and be like, oh my gosh, this is so stressful. Now all of a sudden I'm not creative anymore. And it can turn into a spiral of depression. If you're not even in the business, if you are working at your regular job and you're worried about your economy of your household, etc., it can pull you away from creativity and you can turn into this spiral of depression over it, right? So keep that creative space going. Like, don't let whatever economy you're dealing with in your household and your family and your whatever, don't let it kill your desire for creativity. Like, just keep that going. I know that's a little, for some people, but I think it's really important that the layer of creativity for a human being stays there no matter what's going on. That's a little tangent that I got from what I heard there, something that we all should help each other to do. No matter the other stresses in our life, no matter what's going on, we should help each other, again, in the comment section, in the community, to create that environment where people have a little space away from the stresses of life to be creative. Don't take this space and make it stressful as well. You know what I mean? I think that's really cool. He talked a lot about the worry about business growing too quickly. This is something that I think about a a lot at Dylan Talks Tone. We've been asked many times, well, don't you want a bunch of dealers? Do you want to import to or export to Europe? Do you want to do all this stuff? And I'm like, the bottom line is I want to control growth. We don't want to be growing so quickly that we disappoint you. When you order a pickup, we make everything by hand, and it's usually about 2 to 3 weeks. We've got that down to almost nothing right now because Brianna is helping me, and we are doing a lot of stuff to get that down even further. But it really bothers me when things take longer than 2 weeks. I wouldn't want that as a consumer. And even though we make things by hand and I need that little space to work with because we make things by hand, I still don't want to disappoint people. And so if we were to grow really quickly, then that would happen. And I don't want to disappoint people. The other thing about it is it's not about, I don't want to say it's not about the money. We need to make a living, but the trust factor is huge. He talked about that. The CEO of Sweetwater talked about the trust factor, the knowledge that they work with, the like training and all that stuff. This is something that we really, really focus on. For the last 13 years of owning Dylan Talks Tone, we really, 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 really focus on this. That's why we have the channel, the YouTube channel. Obviously, it is a marketing platform for us, but the way we do it is to build trust. If you don't trust what I do, people get in the comments and be like, well, how do I know you're, well, okay. If you don't trust me, then don't buy it. I don't need everybody's money. I just need the folks that believe in what we do and understand what we do to enjoy what we do by buying products from us. If you don't trust what we do, I don't need your money. That's how I feel about it. I don't want to take your money if you're not going to trust that I'm doing the right thing for you. I don't want that to be part of the relationship. Now, if you grow into a trust relationship with me in the future, and that happens, but if you don't have that right now, then don't buy anything because I don't want that. Watch some more videos, understand what we do, get to know us, watch the live streams with the off-topic hour, so you kind of get to know who we are. The three of us, my wife and Brianna and the dog, and everybody, and really get to know us. And if you grow to trust us, then buy stuff from us. That I really care about that. And if you don't, that's okay. I don't want to take your money because I don't want to take it under those circumstances and then worry about that. Right? It's really, really important. We don't make things just for clicks too. I don't know if you've noticed this. Like people talk about clickbait. Okay. Well, the definition of clickbait is actually when you put something on the thumbnail or the title of the video to make somebody click on it. And then that's not relevant to the video. That's what clickbait is. Putting something on the title of the video or the thumbnail of the video that is shocking or not shocking. What do you want to say? Like, clickbaity. Like that makes you click the video. As long as it's in the video, that's not clickbait. I just need you to click on the video. So we do that. But the idea is it's not just to get the click. It's not just to get the view. We don't make a living off of YouTube in the sense of others. I don't have a golden plated Lamborghini because of YouTube videos. We don't have a big house because of YouTube videos. We have a normal life. Right? We do normal things. We have a normal car. We have a normal house. We have we're just living because it's not YouTube that does that for us. So we want that to be a trust building exercise that we get to know you, you get to know us, and then we build all over that. It's funny. Somebody accused, and I get this a lot. They accuse me of being a charlatan, which is, what's the definition of that? It's like somebody who professes to be an expert in something, even though they're not, so that they can like get some sort of appearance from that or some sort of benefit from it. Basically a con artist, and what a lot of people don't know, they will lump YouTuber into a, influencer, I hate that word, into a group, right? You can do that if you want. That's fine. I'm on YouTube. I do make videos. That's fine. I'm not a YouTuber in the sense of or actually a charlatan. Well, let me just tell you. So this is my ninth business. I've owned businesses ever since I was 17 years old. I started my first one. I've built them up and sold them, built them up and sold them. I have tons of experience in manufacturing, in scaling manufacturing, in engineering, computational fluid dynamics, if you want to be specific, um, export of product to other countries, import of product to other countries, supply chain from other countries, supply chain within this country. I've done globally all of these things. Okay. So I don't just make a couple of YouTube videos and talk about it. I've been doing this for 40 years, right? Like this is some 30 years. I've been doing this for 30 years, this type of stuff. To a very successful extent. I've built the stuff up, I've sold it, I built it up, I've sold it, I built it up, I've sold it. I actually retired at 31 years old and decided, you know what? I'm gonna go back to the music business. So that's what I did. So, this is something that I really care about, but I also really know about. We had a guitar store when I was 4 years old, 3 years old, something like that. I grew up in a guitar store. My dad is a music producer, television producer. I've grown up behind a camera. Behind a camera, like running a camera, not on camera, and on camera. Behind a mixing board, in a studio, playing live, going to live shows, live production. I've been doing this stuff since I was a little kid. This is like my entire life has been this stuff. So I have a lot of experience in it. Whether people want to believe that or not, I don't really care. I'm just going to contribute what I have. That being said, you will never hear me refer to myself as an expert on anything because things change so quickly that I might know something today and it completely changed tomorrow because history is moving so quickly right now that I will never profess to be an expert on anything. People will call me an expert like in comment sections and stuff. And I hate that because I know something yesterday, but now I need to know 3 things today. Now I got to keep learning. So, I have experience in some stuff, but I'm not an expert in anything. I don't like to feel like that. Well, let's see, business. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So let's talk about this other thing that has always been important to me. The Sweetwater CEO talked about this a lot, and I feel very, very strongly about this. That you should never run a pure call center. In all of my other businesses that I've ever had, I've never had somebody answer the phone. Oh, hopefully this didn't cut out on me. Yep, very good. I've never had somebody answer the phone that didn't know what they were talking about. I've never had a office manager, a secretary, a call center person, anybody answer the phone that didn't know what they were talking about. You have to have that, especially in a business like what we have, where what pickups to buy, what do I do, how do I hook it up, what other components do I need? All these things, very, very involved. We need to make sure. That's why we have the chat on the website because it goes straight to my phone right here. So if you chat me right now while you're watching this and you say I have a question, it'll come straight to my phone. That's why we haven't put Brianna on that yet because we're still training her. I'm not going to put anybody in that position that can't legitimately help you. I really, really care about that. And I love the fact that Sweetwater goes to great lengths to do that. Knowledge across all genres and pieces of equipment at Sweetwater. That's really, really cool. I really appreciate that personally as a consumer. I will tell you when we don't know what we're talking about. I don't know. People ask about amp speakers all the time. That's not my area. People talk about amp construction. That's not my area. Now, I do know how a guitar is supposed to interact with an amp. I do know the particulars of that. I can help with that to help you pick the right pickups, to help you get the right setup. But when it comes to amp specific stuff, I'm just going to tell you I don't know. If it comes to modeler specific stuff, I'm going to go tell you to talk to Steve Strelacci, right? He's the man for that, in my opinion. He's a good friend of mine. He's the man for that. Guitar building specific stuff, I'm going to tell you to go talk to Matt and Chris at Texas Toast, right? Like I'm going to send you other places. Pedal specific stuff, I'm going to tell you to go listen to the Chasing Tone podcast, right? Like that kind of stuff. Like I'll totally do that. I think it's really important. But then I'll just give you the knowledge about what I know. The biggest thing that they focus on that I really, really, really appreciate and really, really care about is the relationship part of this. Sweetwater does do that. You've gotten their text messages. They scientifically and spend a lot of time. I've actually talked to the people at Sweetwater about how they do this. It's pretty interesting. They put a lot of effort into making sure that you like your sales guy, that you communicate with him well. My guy's name is Josh, and he texts me, and I text him. I'm sure it goes to a computer. I'm sure it's not going to his personal phone, but you know what I mean? It makes you feel like that, like you have a relationship with this guy, and I can call him and be like, hey, do you like this thing? Do you think it's stupid? Should I buy it? And, he'll talk to me. He'll text me out of the blue and say, hey, I know you like XYZ. We have this thing. It's on sale. I love that. I think it's really, really cool, and it's really important to do that. Relationship is a big thing. We talked about the financial part of it affecting the relationship affecting the financial part of it. I really care about that. If you don't have a good relationship with us, with me, with Brianna, with Leslie, with my dog, with our whole program here, then, it's okay. If I don't, like I said, I don't need everybody's money. I want to make sure that you are happy and that you get what you need and that you like what you have, people, and then the flip side of that is people accuse me all the time of getting butthurt in the comments. What you have to understand about that is I will react to here's how I handle comments. I'm going to give you, this is the lowdown and dirty of how I handle comments. Okay. Especially negative ones. If you make a negative comment, there are two things typically that will happen. One is, I will find it humorous. Okay, these are legitimately negative stuff. Like legitimately just you're being stupid. Okay. Not you disagree with me. I want you to disagree with me if you disagree with me, and we'll talk about it. I'll make a video about it. It's great. It gives me ideas. That's awesome. But if you're just in the comments being stupid to be stupid, there's two reasons that I'm going to respond to it. And neither of them is butthurt. Neither of them is an emotional response. Well, okay. One, I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious that people take the time out of their own lives to be upset about stuff that doesn't matter. It genuinely is humorous to me. And so I will call that out. The other reason I will call somebody out in the comment section, again, there's nothing to do with being butthurt, is we are going to mark you. There's a lot of times where people will make a comment and I'll be like, this guy is an absolute asshole. I'm not going to delete this, but I'm going to reply to him so that this stays in the algorithm so that other folks in the community know who this guy is. Because he just went in public, he made a fool of himself, he doubled down on it many times, and now we all need to know who this guy is and who to avoid, who to stay away from, who to hang out with. This is a community of people. Well, it's just how the internet is. No, the internet is a bunch of people talking. And that's all the internet is. The internet is just a bunch of people talking, right? Through electronic means. That's the entire internet. And so if you are a person talking on the internet and you're saying stupid stuff and we don't want you around, or we need to be warned who you are to stay away from you, we're going to mark you like that. And that's what I'm going to do. So it's either I think it's really funny or I'm going to tell everybody, hey, this dude's an idiot. Those are the two reasons. I don't get butthurt. People think I do because I will make a witty response or a, whatever. But the bottom line is, I have to be emotionally attached to somebody to be hurt by them. I am not. So, just not possible. And if that person says, well, I'm never going to buy from you anyway, I already knew that, right? I already knew that. Sweetwater's investment in people, the amount of work they put into making sure that their people can help customers. I like the fact that everything they do at that company is built on adding value. Um, Now, this is not adding free stuff, adding value. Okay. And here's the value needs to be appreciated. Okay. So, this, again, this is not a problem with the company. If you don't find value in the company or what they're doing, it's not the company doing it wrong. In a case like this, it's you don't see the value in it, which is totally fine. Go shop somewhere else. So, if you don't see the value in the tens of thousands of dollars worth of time and effort and money that we invest into this business every year through the YouTube channel to help people, if you don't see the value in that and think that our pickups are too expensive, etc., that's okay. Go buy some guitar fetish pickups. It's totally fine. I want you to see the value in what we do. It's really, really important. Value is not free stuff. Value is a perception of, am I getting what I need? Am I getting what I want from this? If you're just looking for free stuff, if you're just looking for coupons, if you're just looking for sales, that's not the kind of relationship that I'm trying to build, right? So understanding that. And that's what Sweetwater's doing too. And I really, really, really like that a lot. I really appreciate that. Another thing that I really loved is that they're not doing any private label stuff. He didn't talk specifically, but I can. So Harley Benton, for Thomann in Europe, and whatever that brand is, what's it called? Somebody will tell me in the comments. From Guitar Center, McNeil is not it, but whatever it is, it's that their generic brand. And Phil mentioned the affinity for people glomming onto Asian guitars with a bunch of specs. It's basically a spec race to see how much stuff you can put on a cheap guitar. That's really what it is. And he said, we're not doing it. And the reason we're not doing it is because we're not chasing that quick dollar. It's very difficult to have a level of trust with those products because you cannot service them. You have seen this as a consumer, that a lot of those knockoff Chinese guitars are difficult to, they're difficult. They're difficult to service in the, Leslie ordered me breakfast. They're difficult to service. They're difficult. They can erode trust in a company because they can't control the entire chain. This is also why we don't promote those products, because I can't refer you to somebody if you have a problem. I just can't get behind it, And so I really appreciate that. That whole spec racing is just a race to the bottom. How many spec can I get on a guitar for the cheapest amount of money makes no sense to me. It just makes no sense. It's a short game versus a long game thing. I really, really think that's very cool. The other thing that I thought was interesting is understanding the philosophy of use of guitar players, how it's changed in the last 10 years. This is really important for those of us who've been playing for 40 years to get. A lot of folks don't. So last night on the live stream, we talked about touchscreen stuff. We talk a lot about digital stuff. The philosophy of use has changed, right? So there are people making money on Instagram. There are people making money on TikTok. There are people making money on YouTube who used to play full-time gigs and they just don't anymore. How we use guitars is different. Not many clubs allow you to bring a big Marshall stack and put everything on 10 anymore. So while we may personally love a certain small piece of the pie when it comes to, like a vintage amp cranked to 10, not everybody can do that. Not everybody has a situation for that anymore. In fact, the majority of folks, their philosophy of use when it comes to this kind of stuff is they just can't do it. And so giving those folks some space to understand that and allow them that, instead of talking crap to them all the time because they play digital stuff and you don't, goes back to what we talked about earlier, right? I think it's really, really cool that when you respect somebody's decisions, what they're buying, this and that, is really important. Um, Heart, adding value, results in creating new musicians, and that's what we want to do at Dylan Talks Tone. We want to sell pickups to all of you, but we also want you to create a new musician through your conversations, and our conversations. We want to do the same, and we want to sell pickups to them too, and not just us, but everybody. We want to continue to grow this through having the heart to make a good product and create a relationship with you, adding value surrounding all of that, the knowledge base, everything, the channel, everything. And then the result of that is to create new musicians and make this community even cooler than it is. You guys, it's been super fun. I know this is a long video. I wanted to go through this stuff. I thought it was really, really important. I think this is really important stuff. And coming from Sweetwater's CEO, the outline for this, coming from Sweetwater's CEO, it's very important hearing it from him because they are the biggest name in the game. And to know that they still have this kind of humanity to them behind this big business that a lot of people do not give them the grace of that, I think is really, really important. So I think it's really cool. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for hanging out, you guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Make sure you go to our other channel and subscribe and like, and check out the pinned comment below.